So I see this question a lot while browsing nofap communities, in that, should I get a girlfriend? In my opinion, no. If you're not in a position where you are in full control of your sexual impulses, I don't think that you're in a position to be even considering dating someone. Because more often than not, what happens is you are addicted to a sexually charged dopamine craving. And by outletting that by sex, as opposed to doing it yourself, you're essentially turning your girlfriend into a walking fleshlight. This is what people mean when they say porn objectifies women. They become objects for your viewing and, sexually pleasing pleasure. And it's something I worryingly see too much, that men are actively seeking girlfriends just for the sole reason of helping them through nofap. I think that's incredibly dangerous, not just for you, but for your partner as well, because that creates such a strange dynamic that revolves entirely around satisfying dopamine cravings, that I don't believe that you can be fully invested in a woman when that is constantly running in your subconscious. And it's the case with most men today. Most men are addicted to porn. Most men are addicted to masturbation. They just don't know it, or they don't acknowledge it, at least, which creates a very unhealthy dynamic in relationships. I've been there myself. I was addicted throughout both of my only long-term relationships, and the way I see how it manifested, I genuinely feel bad as to how I treated both of those girls, because all I cared about was getting that dopamine hit. And if I didn't get it from them, I'd get it from myself. And thus the cycle continued. It's only now that I'm 2.5 years at least recovered that I even think that I'm remotely, and I mean this not exaggeratingly, but remotely able to see myself in a relationship. And part of that stems from what I now see myself attracted to in women. Prior to quitting porn, it was big boobs, big butt, slim waist, certain kind of hairstyle. That's gone. Honestly, I no longer seek out physical attractiveness in a female. And, I can agree and disagree that certain women are more attractive than others, but that's not what I'm seeking in a relationship. I don't want a trophy that everyone can look at and think, oh, she's so beautiful, he's so lucky. Like, I'm genuinely looking for the feminine to match my masculine, which is what I think lays the correct foundation for a stable and strong relationship in which both participants can fully engage their souls with each other and truly form a connection that will last a lifetime. Your house is only as strong as the foundation you build it on, and if that foundation is built purely from the dopamine craving, then the house is going to collapse. What starts in sin will end in sin. And I guess the other reason that people are seeking out girlfriends on this journey is to cure loneliness, which once again I completely understand. At the start of lockdown, I moved into an apartment on my own, and I didn't see anyone for pretty much 1.5 years, 2 years, and it was lonely. But it's within that loneliness that I discovered who I was, because I didn't have anyone else to talk to, I didn't have anyone else to engage with, so I looked inwards. I found myself. As cliche and cringe as that sounds, I found myself. And I realized how lonely I was. My first relationship was from the age of 11 until 23. 12 years, my entire adolescence. After that, I waited 3 months before getting into my next relationship, which lasted 3 years. my early 20s, once again, not alone. I was always with someone, and I was always very codependent on them and emotionally needy and attached. I had no independence whatsoever. I was always a mother's boy, didn't have a father growing up, typical story. And after we broke up, I was always seeking out some sort of female attention. I became unhealthily infatuated with a female that I worked with, which I don't really like reminiscing on, to be honest, because it is extremely cringe. But it's moments like that and experiences like that that really allow you to see what's going on in your psyche. And it's only once you accept and acknowledge these things that you can begin working on it. So I accepted that I was lonely, which was probably harder than actually being lonely itself, because no one wants to accept that they have flaws, especially one as shame-inducing as loneliness. Everyone likes to think that they're okay on their own and they can survive on their own and they don't need anyone else. But when it comes to it, it's hard. It is difficult to reside in solitude and have no one there to talk to, and I know it all too well. And I completely understand why people seek out relationships to cure that loneliness. But as well as being in control of your sexual desires, I believe it is so important for a man to be comfortable in solitude. Be comfortable being alone, because it's only through loneliness that you can ever realize who you actually are as a man. And if you're not comfortable with loneliness or solitude, then once again, you're going to be reliant on the person that you're with. Whether it's a friend or whether it's a relationship, you're going to be reliant on them to cure your loneliness, which will only be temporary. Otherwise, you'll end up extremely clingy and needy, and as soon as they're gone, you'll develop paranoia, anxiety, all of the above. Incredibly important that you are okay with being lonely. And the best way to be okay with loneliness is to lean into it. Accept it. I'm alone. I'm lonely. It's fine. It's completely fine. We have these emotions for reasons. Humans are naturally social creatures who innately desire relationships and companionship, because that's how we've evolved as humans. But still, one should be able to go and hunt on their own. One should be able to go to the cinema on their own. One should be able to sit in a room on their own with nothing but their thoughts and be completely fine with that. And I think that is what we're missing in society currently, is moments of reflection and introspection, because we're too caught up with everything that's going on in the world. I'm not going to go down the typical dystopian, the smartphones ruined the world type shit, but you get what I'm trying to say. We're so constantly stimulated all the time, and we have infinite access to an infinite amount of information and people, that it's so rare to just be alone. People tend to avoid the thoughts that are going on in their mind because they don't like what's being played out. And that leads to other problems. The type of people that are always trying to fill the silence, either by talking about nonsense or by scrolling through TikTok or watching YouTube, just trying to escape from themselves because they don't like what their own mind is projecting to them, whether it be loneliness, depression, anxiety. But you can't address these emotions unless you give your mind the space to do so. Everything else is just escapism. You're escaping yourself. And until you allow yourself time to truly dig deep inwards and analyze your current mental state, then you won't improve. you won't improve. And I know that for a fact. Because I tried so hard myself to just quit everything, right? I tried to quit porn, tried to quit masturbation, tried to quit video games, and I couldn't. Because every time I tried, I had to deal with the thoughts in my head, and I didn't want to. Until I forced myself to. I sat in the dark, staring at a wall for hours, just thinking, analyzing myself. What's going on? What am I doing wrong in my life? It's okay to blame the world for the problems that you're suffering with. Victim mentalities are very comforting because it alleviates you from responsibility. And it's only when you hold yourself accountable that you can really begin making progress. Because I guarantee you, if you are suffering from some sort of negative emotion, you are doing something wrong in life. You're doing something wrong, 100%. There is some habit or behavior that you are repeatedly engaging in that is contributing to your emotional downfall. And people don't like hearing this. I understand that depression, anxiety, some people are more biologically disposed to being afflicted with it. I 100% agree with that. But that's a very rare case. Most of the time, the fault lies within you. And I only know this because I was there. I was in a pit of despair. I was completely engulfed with darkness, and I couldn't see the light. I blamed the world. I never looked inwards. And it's only within that loneliness that I forced myself into that I was able to see that. And it was only after seeing that I was able to begin addressing it. And here I am now. I still get lonely. Of course I do. Like I said, humans desire companionship. But it doesn't affect me anywhere near as much. I may get a brief 5-minute glimpse in my mind of, damn, it'd be really nice to have a girlfriend right now. Because of course it would. Who doesn't want companionship? But it's important not to dwell on those thoughts and rely on that fantasy to comfort you. Because that can happen too. I've always been a daydreamer, and I used to find myself daydreaming about these idyllic scenarios where I'd have a wife, children, everything was happy, and then as soon as my conscience snapped back into place, I'm there in the dark, sweaty, covered in Cheeto dust, playing video games and all sorts. It's just escapism. You can escape into your own mind if you're not careful. The bottom line is, you're never going to be perfect, ever. But you can aim for it. And every time that you look within yourself and you notice something that's incongruent with your goals, like what you really want to achieve in life, even if that's just a happy disposition in your mental state, address it. You have to address it. Only you can make that change. And only until you've cleared out most of your trauma, fixed your bad habits, rid yourself of vice and sin and all the other words that describe shit that's just not good for you, can you really say that you're in a position to be a patriarch for your family? If you're heavily addicted to something, if you can't control your impulses, can you be the man that your family need as a strong foundation, a strong patriarch to look after them and provide for them? I don't think you can. Because your mind's elsewhere. You can't focus on what needs to be done because you're too busy thinking about the next hit of dopamine that you're going to get. And it's worrying the amount of men that are getting into relationships, and women, I'll say it, and women too. Everyone is no one's addressing themselves, and then we're getting two damaged people entering a relationship, which then just compounds. That's why divorce rates are lowering. That's why childbirth rates are lowering, because no one's healthy. No one in their relationships are healthy, because no one's looking to be healthy, or they don't even know that they're unhealthy. Appreciate that I rambled on a completely different topic to what I originally started on, but it all ties in somehow. Should you get a girlfriend when trying to break an addiction to help you break that addiction? No. No, you shouldn't. Because you're not ready. Anyway, this has been my first long form content post. Completely unstructured, and I'm being attacked by flies. I have no script for this. I've seen a lot of men asking whether they should get girlfriends, and men planning on getting girlfriends to get through this. Don't do it, please. Don't do it. Not until you're ready. You'll cause more harm than good to both of you if you're not ready. Thanks for watching. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna make. This was just something I really wanted to do for a while, because I dislike making dopamine trap TikTok videos. But yeah, I don't even know if anyone's gonna watch this. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, thumbs up, hit the bell icon. Don't fap.